Good afternoon, Emily.
Hi.
We're going to have a 10-minute session today, talking about whatever it is that you want to talk about. It's going to be completely confidential. The only people who are going to see it are myself for my education and Professor Rayford. The only time I would have to share anything is if you mention any suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations, child abuse, or elder abuse, as I'm a mandated reporter. I'm an MFT trainee, and when you're ready, you can go ahead and get started with whatever you want to talk about today.
Okay. So I had my first therapy session this morning.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it went really well, but I had a lot of emotions that came up
Okay.
in that therapy session. Just about, I moved back home to live with my parents in order to go to CBU, just because I can't financially support myself living in Southern California. And so it's just kind of been hard, like from living on my own for 4 years to moving back in with my parents, and just like constantly feeling, I don't know, just like kind of overwhelmed and like feeling that I have to abide by their rules, even though I'm like an older adult and I'm still their kid.
Sounds like you feel like you lost some independence that you had.
Definitely from moving back home. It's been an adjustment for sure. I'm trying to get used to it, but I'm still having trouble with just my relationship with my parents in general. I just feel like when I went away, it was a lot better, and then now that I'm back, it's like strained. So,
how's it strained?
Just in the sense of they have a lot of marital issues that they need to deal with on their own, and being in a psych program and a counseling program, I feel like my mom has more recently come to me for advice and telling me all their problems and everything, and kind of forgetting that I'm still their daughter and not her therapist.
Sounds like you've been thrown into a role you don't really want to have to play.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're also witnessing a lot of these issues that puts a strain on you, and then you have school and work on top of that.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I think it's just a lot to handle, and every time I try to tell them, I try my hardest to kind of keep that boundary, but I think that's what I'm struggling with is I've always kind of been my mom's confidant. We've always been really close, and I think that that's hard going through into my early adult phase, because it's like I'm trying to figure out who I am, but I'm also feeling like I don't want to let her down if I'm not there for her to support her.
I understand that.
So it's hard for me to like find the balance between.
Sounds like the transition's really hard for you right now.
Yeah.
Figuring out
Definitely.
How much of a daughter and how much of a therapist to be to your mom almost.
Yeah, and I try to tell her, I'm like, I think you should go see someone. I mean, I've told both my parents that, and it's hard because it's like they're always like, yeah, we want help, but they never do anything about it. And I just feel like it's not my fault, or I feel like it is not my responsibility, but it's like not at the same time. Like I feel like I want to support them in trying to figure out what to do with their own marital conflicts, but at the same time, it's like I'm their daughter.
So it sounds like you, if I'm saying this correctly, that you feel like it's your responsibility almost to get them to get help for themselves. Okay, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. So that's hard, especially being, young. You're in a graduate program, and just because you're in a program for psychology, it doesn't mean that you have to be their therapist or take on that responsibility.
Yeah, I just don't want to let them down, and I don't want to feel like if it doesn't work out or they can't find help, I just want to feel like I've done everything I can to make sure that they're okay, even though I don't know.
Have you told them how much it's affecting you? Have you let them know? Besides just telling them that you think they should get help, have you kind of been...
Not in that way. So I feel like my way of supporting them is to just let them word vomit all of their feelings. Even though I know that that's not healthy for me, but I just feel like, it's not so much my dad. My dad doesn't really talk. It's more my mom. My mom is just she shows her emotions, you can just see them. Yeah. Yeah, neon
screaming
sign,
at you?
definitely. So I
Okay.
think that that's what's like hard because I know that she's like hurting and I know that she wants help, but I don't think she really knows how to go about it.
Okay. That's really hard. It sounds like it's a lot of pressure for you.
Yeah.
That isn't pressure you should be having.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be an emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you like shown your mom like where she can look for therapists or anything like that? Try to like, give her that shove in that direction?
I mean, I haven't like found her a therapist. Like I haven't gone to that extent, but just trying to help her and to feel confident to go find one because I feel like my mom is someone who blames other people for her own insecurities and her own, like she gets really defensive and really upset if you don't word it correctly. So if I was just to go up to her and be like, you need to go see a therapist, she would be like super offended and very upset about it.
Okay.
And so I try to go about it and saying, I mean, I've done the whole you can't change dad, you can only change how you respond to him type thing. So, and I feel like she gets that, but that's what I'm saying is like they get it, but then when it comes down to it, they won't do it.
Okay.
Like they've gone to therapy before and they've gone to do all that stuff before, but they go for like 4 weeks and then it's like
they don't put any real effort in. It sounds like they just kind of give up.
Yep. So that's just been a lot on my plate. And it's like hard because I'm learning in classes like all this stuff and like you know, like I'm in like family therapy and we talk about couples counseling and I'm just like, yeah, my parents need that.
And like,
it's like a constant reminder.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's hard. And like I said, that's not a pressure you should have. You are their daughter, so trying to figure out that healthy boundary is hard, especially being brought back into it. Because when you're out on your own, you're not right there. You're not that immediate person for her.
It's almost like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Yeah, because I always knew that like these problems are around. I'm the youngest, so I think my siblings, when I was younger, like my parents' issues were kind of hidden from me because my older siblings would kind of protect me, I guess. They would like keep me occupied when like they were fighting or if anything was happening. I just think that as I got older, I was more aware of it. And when I went away to college, that was when they were kind of at their worst because my dad had lost both of his parents and a brother within a year.
Oh, wow.
So
that's really hard.
Yeah, so I think that's what caused my dad to kind of spiral, and then he kind of brought my mom with him, and then so it's like he was struggling with like that loss, and then my mom was like struggling to like support him, but like didn't know how. So I think when I went away to college, it was like they were still trying to figure all that out, but I was like away doing my own stuff, so I was just like, that's up to them, like that's their problem. But now that I'm living
involved in it.
Exactly, now that I'm living at home, it's just like all up in my face.
Okay, yeah, that's hard. But it sounds like you have a good relationship with your siblings.
I do.
How many siblings?
I have an older sister and an older brother.
Okay. Do you talk to them about what's going on at home and like try and get their view and opinion on it?
Absolutely. I'm a lot closer with my sister than I am with my brother, not because of anything that happened, but just he lives in Tennessee. So it's just the distance, yeah. And he's married, and I have a niece who's 3, so he's kind of like, they just moved out there about a year ago.
Sounds like he has a lot going on in his
life.
Yeah,
so. Exactly. And then my sister lives only like 15 minutes away from me, so she lived at home before I moved home, so she's kind of knows living back at home as an adult is like how the dynamic is with my parents, and just trying to figure out like our role as
the adult children.
Yeah, in like a place where my mom speaks. Like our family is very hush hush, so it's like we don't really talk outside of the family of like problems and stuff. Like I've never talked to anybody about this before, so it's just kind of like we talk to each other because that's the only person who understands.
You have to talk to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's always good to have someone that understands what you're going through because they've been there, and it's good that you guys have that relationship and you have that person to talk to and confide in. Yeah. Does your mom kind of put a lot of the same type of pressures and information on your sister, or is it focused mainly on you because you're at home?
My mom and I have always been the closer out of my mom's relationships with my siblings, not because, I don't know, I just think my mom and I understand each other a lot more
You just have
than
a
closer bond, I
closer
guess.
bond.
Yeah, and I'm also more of an emotional person. My sister's more like logical, as well as my brother, and my mom is emotional, my dad's logical. So I just think like my mom and I mean, like, for lack of a better words, like, vibe on certain things. I feel like that's why she comes to me for when something's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like she probably thinks she's gonna get a more logical response, like she would get from your dad, from your siblings, as opposed to
from me.
from you.
Yeah.
So
I'm just
you're,
like, tell me how you
you're
feel.
safe for her, it sounds like.
Definitely.
Which is great. I mean, it's always good to have that close bond, but it sounds like there's some boundary things that need to be worked on.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I'm trying to do without hurting their feelings.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so I know, like, everyone's like, oh, you need to sit down and talk to them, like, you need to just, like, set these boundaries, but the problem is we've never talked like that. Like, the rules in my family were kind of just unspoken. It's like, you come home when you're supposed to. We had, like, a 10 o'clock curfew when I was, like, a kid. I mean, obviously now they're not like, oh, you have to be home, but it's like, I subconsciously feel that way.
You still like to follow the rules.
Exactly, and so, like, when I moved back in, they weren't like, oh, these are the rules and you have to follow them. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just, we didn't change anything. So I just feel like I'm back where I was in high school, and I'm just like, this is awkward, I don't know.
It's like you went in a time machine, but like you're not younger, you're you're older, but stuck in high school times.
Yeah. Like, just with them parenting.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, that's a hard transition for them too, and that's why it's like, it's hard because my education is like teaching me like everything that's happening, you know, so it's like I try to be understanding, but at the same time I'm like, no.
Unconditional positive regard.
Yes. So it's like hard for me to just be like, I know that they're like trying to go through a transition about like almost being empty nesters. Like, once I move out, like, no one's gonna come back.
Yeah.
You know, so, and when I moved out to go to school, like, my sister was moving home to finish her last year in credentials, so they really only were empty nesters for like 2 years, and then we've just kind of switched off. Yeah. It's like my sister just moved out, I just moved back in, so, I don't know.
I guess, do you think even when you move out after you're done with school that you're still going to have the boundary issues with your mom, or do you think it's only really an issue because you live there right now? I mean, I know school you were kind of far away, so, but I don't know if you plan to move far again or not.
I want to say no, but I feel like deep down I feel like yes, because I have this, like, I don't know, I feel like because her and I are so close, like, I feel like I'm all she has.
Okay.
When it comes to, like, dealing with family problems. Because she doesn't talk to anybody else about it. So it's like, I feel like if I was moving far away, like, I would take that person away from, like, for her. Does that make sense? Like, I would feel like I wouldn't want to move far away because I wouldn't want to have to, like, leave my mom.
So, like, you're almost stuck here because you don't want to, like, hurt her.
Correct.
Basically, you're worried about how she'll take anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was really hard for her when I moved away to school. And it's like, it was hard for me too, but I mean, I was like excited and all that stuff. And when I was moving home, she was like, I'm so excited for you to be home. Like, and I'm like, I'm excited too. At the same time, it's like, I only moved home because I cannot financially live anywhere else. If I didn't have to live at home, I wouldn't, but it's saving me a lot of money, which I'm super appreciative. Like, they're not making me pay anything. So that's like also really nice, but it's just a lot.
It is. It sounds like it's a lot. It sounds like it's a lot to deal with. I mean, you kind of got thrown into the mix in like a weird way because you're still their child, and you know they want to parent you, but then you're also kind of getting treated like your mom's confidant, which is weird because your dad's still in the picture and they're still together, so it's hard. I can see how that would be really hard to balance for yourself, let alone for your mom.
It's just a lot of emotions, I guess. Yeah.
I have no idea how much time left. I'm gonna stop it. Okay.
I know, I don't know why that